Good morning to you all. My group and I will be presenting to you on a case study this morning. First, I would like to introduce you to my group members. From the top, myself, Muhammad Ajmal Kamal, our second member, Titilia Kateke, and our third member, Nofal Kirash Muhammad. Our group will be presenting to you on a case study, chapter 17 from our textbook on the topic Teams and Teamwork. Our case study is that Hostin, Melbourne Tech Connects. Before we start, I would like to give you an overview of our presentation on what to expect. First, we'll start off by discussing our case study by giving just a brief overview of our case study. Furthermore, we will identify some of the pitfalls of a virtual team. We will further look into what a virtual team is as we move on. Moving on, we will discuss ways to overcome those pitfalls. And finally, we will discuss any other possible drawbacks and how to overcome them as well. Moving on to our case study overview. This case study is about two companies, OpexSpace and NASA, forming a team to work on a particular project. Due to different locations factor, the two companies depend on technology to virtually collaborate in order to stay updated with their work progress and have meetings in order to successfully complete their project. There are good sides and negative sides of having a traditional team. Likewise, there are advantages and disadvantages of having a virtual team. This presentation focuses on the drawbacks of having a virtual team and how to overcome those drawbacks. To commence with, let us first look at what a virtual team is. But before that, let us look at what a team is. According to the definition given, a team is a small group of people with complementary skills who work together to accomplish shared goals while holding themselves mutually accountable for performance results, while teamwork is the process of people working together to accomplish these goals. Now that we have understood what a team is, let us now look at what a virtual team is. The word virtual is a computing term meaning not physically existing as such, but made by software. A virtual team is a group of people who work largely through computer-based rather than face-to-face interactions. Virtual team members depend highly on technology in order to collaborate with each other. Usually refers to a group of individuals who are working from different geographical locations, similar to what we have in our case study, OpexSpace and NASA, two different companies working from two different locations and depending on technology in order to communicate, such as using Skype, Zoom, fax, video voice conferencing services, and plenty more. Moving on, even though there are possible challenges virtual teams may face, there are also great potentials that lays for the virtual team. Firstly, working with virtual team will drastically reduce travel time and cost. While most communication can be done via virtual channels, members can contribute from dispersed locations without unnecessary travel to face-to-face meetings. Moving on to our next point, having a virtual team promotes different areas. It can be proposed that when expanding the geographical scope, more professionals are available in the candidate pool. Thus, the probability to find suitable professionals with more superior problem-solving skills increases as the amount of candidates is not limited by geographical boundaries. Furthermore, recruitment of talented employees. There should be some employees who are physically disabled, and these disabilities make it difficult for some workers to be traditionally employed. However, if they have the opportunity to work on the virtual team, they are able to maximize their product in ways that best suit their needs. Having the advantages on the side, there are drawbacks that affect a virtual team. Factors such as geographical locations and time zone differences and many more can negatively impact virtual teams and their project. First on the list is different geographical locations. Lack of face-to-face interactions means cold relations among members, which pose great risk for the competence of the virtual team. While the members experience the inability to ask questions, there are difficulties with delegation. Having different geographical locations can lead to lacking of trust among the team members as they are not able to physically monitor who is working and who is a free rider. It is therefore advisable that team leaders pay attention to every member to create a sense of commitment and ownership of the project. Moving on to our next point, time zone differences. Working in different time zones may lead to difficulties in communication as there may be only a short time window for contact, which again can result delays in different tasks and scheduling. More time zones are crossed, less there is overlapping time window for communication. Hence, when working from different sides of the world, the window will become almost non-existent. Such disorders in working times and possible delays may create personal conflicts and frustration amongst the members. Thus, it is crucial for both leaders and members to acknowledge these and pay attention to appropriate communication, scheduling, and use of technology. Moreover, lack of face-to-face communication. Failures and misinterpretation in communications poses a significant risk for virtual teams. Team members may come from different cultural backgrounds, have different level of language skills, and therefore understand communications differently. When previous is combined with the lack of verbal cues, tones, and body expressions, the risk of misinterpretation is evident. People may misinterpret communications and get offended by the messages, even though the messages in the questions were initially sent with Ignatius' mind. These misinterpretations may trigger conflicts which can be exceedingly difficult to manage as perception and interpretation relies heavily on non-verbal cues, which are not available within virtual communication. Moving on, there are strategies that managers can follow in order to overcome these drawbacks. Firstly, if the team has the possibility, then regular physical meetings could be a better practice to do. These meetings is seen as a way of building team spirit and establishing trust. It gives opportunity for informal talks and to get to know each other. Team building exercises are good to practice during these meetings, if possible. Such meetings should be arranged for example, once in quarter or when new employees are joining in. Besides regular team building meetings, the most critical phase to have a physical meeting is in the beginning of a project or other large tasks. Furthermore, a lot of emphasis goes to communication. It needs to be structured and as clear as possible. Common guidelines for communication, working methods and behavior needs to be established alongside with clear roles and responsibilities. These are very much due to the risk of misinterpretations and therefore a lot of focus in communication needs to be in place. Moving on to our next point is to plan meetings efficiently. This can be helpful in overcoming time differences. When arranging online meetings, preparation work is needed, meaning invitations, background materials, and agenda with objectives of the meeting is recommended to send prior to the meeting for participants. Meeting ought to be well structured and organized and needs to facilitate, moderate the meeting. In addition, other possible drawbacks can be lack of trust. Virtual working often creates mistrust among team members, which is often one of the biggest challenges of managing virtual teams. Members rarely work at the same time, cannot see what others are doing, and do not get immediate responses. Trust is therefore a big problem which can be averted by creating awareness of the contribution and achievements of every team member. Supportive team managers who set clear goals and expectations also help in building trust among team members. With the help of a physical meetup, through informal conversations, the team can build trust. To conclude this presentation, organizing virtual meetings requires strong facilitation skills, especially when amount of participant increases. Knowing that in some cases people may hold their thoughts in virtual meetings, facilitators need to acknowledge this and get people providing input and their views. It is important one gets others' commitment to the topic and thereby achieves the wanted actions and end results. When physical cues and reactions are missing, one should also be sensitive whether message is understood and people have brought their ideas on the table. This requires knowledge on cultural differences, as some may feel less comfortable in challenging or admitting that message was not understood. Additionally, suitable person types were described as open-minded and flexible. They need to be comfortable with nature of virtual work, which is different from the traditional ways of working. This was further explained that person can work in manner that is not limited neither time nor place and does not mind traveling. Open-minded attitude comes also with embracing new ways of working and tools which may change time to time. Thank you.